All right, good afternoon to you. We've made it to another Friday, and we've made it to the end of October. And guess what? There's only 1 month left in our 2025 Atlantic Basin hurricane season. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Ramisha Shade, of course, here to track the tropics at least for 1 more month. Before that, of course, or after that, rather, we could say it's a wrap for this season, and we will have to wait until next year to see if we get anything brewing in the tropics, of course, beginning in June. But we do have another month to get through, and even though historically the chance for any development is very low, it's still possible. Of course, all this week it's been about Hurricane Melissa. We've been closely tracking Melissa, of course, as it devastated Jamaica earlier in the week as a monster Category 5. Then as it rolled over the eastern portion of Cuba, still as a major hurricane. Then it pushed into the southeastern Bahamas last night, this morning, brushed by the western side of Bermuda. So it's been getting around and doing a lot of damage. So Melissa brushed by Bermuda last night, this morning, producing reportedly a 98-mile-per-hour wind gust. So even though it didn't make landfall in Bermuda, that wind field is pretty wide, and there were still some hurricane-force wind gusts across parts of Bermuda. So that is why Bermuda was under a hurricane warning through this morning. That has been discontinued because Melissa is racing off to the north. Now here is the latest news with Melissa. The biggest thing, we thought this would happen tonight. It happened a little bit earlier, but Melissa has now lost tropical characteristics, but it does remain a very powerful system. It just doesn't have enough of a characteristic or two to become a tropical system or to remain a tropical system, but it still has very strong winds, still near hurricane force, and it can still produce some heavy rain. So it will bring the threat for some brief heavy rain to parts of Newfoundland for tonight. So here's a look at Melissa on satellite, and you can clearly see it no longer has that structure that a classic hurricane or tropical system would have. It's very elongated now. It's kind of getting caught up in a front, another storm system, and it is not a tropical system anymore. However, it is still packing a punch, still some strong winds, and some of that heavy rain will likely brush over parts of Newfoundland as we go through tonight. And then early next week, it's going to make its way all the way up close to Iceland, believe it or not. So it is booking it, moving very fast to the northeast. In fact, it started moving even faster with this latest update. The last update for this system, of course, was issued at 10 a.m. Now that it is no longer a tropical system, we won't get any additional updates, but it was moving at 48 miles per hour to the northeast, pressure up to 973 millibars, and maximum sustained winds as of the last advisory, 10 a.m., were around 85 miles per hour. So even though it is post-tropical, it still has a lot of wind in it, and it can still produce some heavy rain. So here's the track of what's left of Melissa, post-tropical cyclone Melissa. It's going to move by the Newfoundland area tonight. It's not going to make a direct landfall, but brush by to the east, and then it will continue to gradually weaken as it moves into those colder waters of the North Atlantic. And look at this, it's still holding together by 8 a.m. Monday morning. It is just to the south of Iceland. So this system continues on its path north and northeast, and it is not going away anytime soon. But thank goodness it is moving far away from us, and I don't anticipate any more major effects across the Caribbean, Bermuda, and the U.S. So as far as Canada tonight, you could see parts of Newfoundland getting in on some of that heavy rainfall as Melissa will brush by just to the east. So we are going to monitor for that risk, but after that, things should start to calm down. So what's going on elsewhere across the Atlantic Basin? Well, at this point, National Hurricane Center is thinking for the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, the Gulf, no tropical development expected over the next week or the next 7 days or so. So that is great news. I'm hoping that we don't get anything for the rest of the season. That would be ideal, but of course there's always the possibility with another month left in our hurricane season. So far this season, we've had 13 named storms, pretty close to average, 5 of those becoming hurricanes. That's 2 below the average, and 4 becoming major hurricanes, most recently Hurricane Melissa. So we've had 4 major hurricanes. That is above average, and we actually got a little closer than I was thinking to those Colorado State University numbers that they predicted for the season back in July. They predicted 16 named storms, 8 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes. So we haven't had that many named storms or hurricanes, but we certainly came a little bit closer for a while there, especially when you go back to August. Things were super quiet in the tropics. We were thinking, man, this is going to be a very quiet season. But then as we got into the beginning of September, things started rolling and blowing up out there. And of course, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hurricanes. And of course, 3 of those were about as bad as it gets. Category 5s. That was Aaron, Humberto, and of course, most recently, Melissa. Now, the name next on the list is Nestor. And right now, no signs of Nestor developing. The chances for tropical development for the Gulf in November, extremely low. But we do still have this Central American gyre set up where we can get a weak tropical wave to kind of get produced by this. But the chances that we'll move up towards the Texas Gulf Coast, very, very low. It's never happened since we've been keeping weather records, but if it were to happen, it'd be unprecedented. But we do have very warm waters in the Gulf, Western Caribbean, so we'll continue to monitor things closely. But really, if we get anything as we go into November, there's a low shot in the Western Atlantic, Western Caribbean, but likely not heading towards the Gulf. But until we're out of hurricane season, stay alert, and we'll be here daily, keeping you updated on what's happening out there. We'll be right back with more Texas Live and Local.